which gave access for trade that was passing by. We're quite close to some salt mines near here. Salt was like gold back in the day, before we had refrigeration. It was a hugely important preservation technique to sort of coat things in salt, so salt was hugely valuable indeed. So eventually the Duke prevailed as being the one who would rule the city, but the monks got a very nice percentage of any tolls that were collected, so that part of the history of the town remained very important. The city then began to develop on the back of its trade and wealth, and eventually city walls were built around the city because they had so much money they needed to protect it. But the city also did get caught up in the conflicts around the religious changes in Europe. So Munich remained very Catholic. They were besieged by the Swedish army as part of the 30 Years' War. They managed to repel the siege and the city was not destroyed. So that was quite an important chapter in the history, actually. They've also suffered things like plagues over the years, which have hit many other European cities as well. But they always remained quite prosperous. They were eventually sort of promoted, I guess you could say, to a duchy within the Holy Roman Empire. So they were, you know, a relatively important part of that. But when Napoleon was redrawing the maps of Europe, this is when Bavaria got promoted to a kingdom in the early 1800s. And even when Germany became a unified nation in 1871, the Kingdom of Bavaria retained that title within the empire of the German nation. But at the end of World War I, this is when all the monarchies disappeared, and at that point Bavaria just became a state, and Munich, its capital. But it still bears the hallmarks of the royal residences that were around the place. We'll see some evidence about when we're in the city later on today. This is the birthplace, this city, of King Ludwig II, the one who built Neuschwanstein Castle as well, so important person who came from here. Public transport wise, Munich has quite a big network. So we've got trams, as you can see. There's a bus in front of us as well. They also have a U-Bahn system, so it's like a subway. And they also have what we call an S-Bahn system. These are trains that go to the further out suburbs, so they need a massive network like that. Lots of bicycles in Munich as well. You see people cycling all around. Munich is a lovely city for walking as well. So people who live in Munich tend to be quite outdoorsy, I guess you could say. It's very common for people to take a little break that would take them down into the mountains or into the lakes, skiing in the winter months. So very, sort of very mobile population, shall we say. The city did suffer bombing raids during World War II. It was very badly damaged. It was rebuilt. There are some people who don't like the way it was rebuilt. They're critical that it was too rigid in trying to, remain true to original designs. And sometimes if they couldn't get the right materials, they just wouldn't rebuild the building, and people think that was the wrong decision. Of course, there's always going to be controversy around any kind of rebuilding program, but when you're in the city centre, I'm sure you'll see that they did do a lovely job with a number of the buildings that are within the old town. The city walls were gone well before World War II. They were hindering the expansion of the city, and so the decision was taken to get rid of those as well. So, like I say, we've still got a little bit of a ways to run before we get in, but I will use the Vox boxes when we do arrive, so if you need to dig those out, you've got a bit of time to do that before we make our way in.